food and emotions, the health connect with the family, and also the repercussions of food on periods. And today we have several, an entire list of topics that yourselves have suggested for ma'am. And since there was not any one single topic, we have decided, we offered all of them, and she very kindly agreed to touch upon all of these through the course of her lecture today. So these will range from the connection between pollution and health, what we need to do for strong immunity, effect of food on eyes, hereditary diseases, cancer related problems, weight loss, myths related to dieting, intermittent fasting, the whole entire idea of organic products, and several other topics which we have conveyed to her. So I welcome you, ma'am. Thank you so much. And I won't take more of I won't take more of your time. Please begin. Thank you so much.
Okay. Good evening, Nidhi. Thank you so much. Thanks once again to the organizers of the College of Guru Nanak Khalsa College, the IQAC team. Wonderfully, you have been organizing, and this is the last session, and we have been through it since October and coming to the end of November. We have been through, and I'm so glad that I have been having sustained patronage in terms of participants. And as we come to the last session, we had announced that the last session is going to be a participants or the viewers' choice. And I'm so glad that you have sent a list of topics within the given time. I don't know if I will be able to talk about everything. So probably we'll take few major ones among that and still keep it open for question answers. So all these days you would have seen a structure with a confined topic, more or less a narrowed down topic. But today we are going to talk about many different aspects that you felt is relevant and you wanted. Is my audio and video fine? Can I go ahead? Nidhi, can you just...
Yes, ma'am. It's fine, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you so much. Yes, as of now, I have about 45 participants. Any first-time participant with me? I generally keep asking this question. I would like to ask you again. Any first-time participant attending for the first session? Yes, there's one. Hair fall. Okay, Rami says discuss about hair fall. Okay, good. I'm so happy. I'm really glad that there are so many questions. Yes, there are 2, 3, 4, about 4 of you out of 45. Okay, the rest of you have been attending. Okay, some of you are attending for the first time. So yes, if there is anything that I may have to repeat for the sake of the first time students or participants, I will be doing that. So I will take the permission of the participants if any of the points, especially the key principles of nutrition and diet, if I have to repeat for the sake of the newcomers, please allow me to do that. So having said that, let's go on to the last session. Of course, I don't give you any title for it. It is something on demand you have all asked for. So out of that, yes, there were a lot of topics. Probably I will take up the diet part here because there were quite a lot of questions or need for dieting and how do we diet and what is a kind of diet, etc., etc. So before I go on to that, for the sake of the newcomers and for the sake of the others who have been with me, I would like to once again reiterate, although I'm talking about the diet, we have been hearing a lot about weight reduction diets, Atkins diet, paleo diet, keto diet, fruit diet, many such diets we keep hearing. Which of that is good? Is it good by itself? How long should I be doing? Could be some of your questions. Although we are not going in depth into any of these because a whole lot of topics are given to me. But I'm going to talk about all these things as per your demand, as I told you. So before I speak about the diet and the weight reduction pattern per se, let me just tell you that whatever is the weight reduction diet or pattern you would like to follow. The ultimate or the foundation pillars for our optimal health should still be good nutrition, adequate rest, regular exercise, and positive mental attitude. For those of you who have coming for the first time, I have done all this in detail for the participants, and I have gone over it also a couple of times in my previous session, but I'm coming back to it for your benefit and to reiterate the fact. So, while talking about diet, whichever diet you want to follow for your weight reduction, it is still important and imperative that the diet should still give you good nutrition. And any diet coupled with proper rest and exercise is still the most important thing. Oh, my thing isn't shared, I suppose. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I thought my screen was being shared. Okay, this is where I was talking to the, yes, sorry friends, I think I hadn't shown this for you. So I was talking about the foundation pillars: good nutrition, adequate rest, exercise, and positive mental attitude. Irrespective of which diet you want to follow, how many kilos you want to shed, whatever is your target, apart from the good nutrition, we also need to take care of the exercise pattern, the rest, and the positive mental attitude. As I always tell you, we are connected body, mind, spiritually, and emotionally. Therefore, we need to have a good balanced diet. That's very important. And also, we need to have a good balance between our rest and exercise and our daily activities. That's very, very important. So, quick run through the food pyramid, which gives us the concept of balanced diet. The food groups are grouped under 4 major groups: the cereal group, the vegetable group, the protein group, and the dairy and the fats and fatty oils and sweets and condiments group. The group that's at the bottom, that's a cereal group, comprises of all kinds of cereals, millets, etc. So we should be getting more of our calories, about 60 to 65% from this group, and it should be wholesome in nature. Variety, bring in variety to your cereals, that's very important. And secondly, eat a lot of different colored vegetables. As I keep telling you, vegetables and fruits and greens are a source of antioxidants for our fiber requirement, and it's extremely important for protective agents or vitamins and mineral sources also. The third one to be moderately consumed is the protein group, the milk products, meat, poultry, lean meat, fish, etc. Very important for muscle building. And the fourth one, that is the fats, oils, and sweets, to be consumed sparingly. So this is a concept of the balanced diet. So what I would like to say is, answering the question about which diet is good. My dear participants, the bottom line of any healthy diet is, first and foremost, we should get all the 4 food groups in this proportion, which I have been talking to you from day one. That is the food pyramid proportion, or the way of distribution. Are we getting this format? That's very important. This is very important for a balanced diet. At the same time, the 4 pillars are very important. But for various reasons, we see people taking up or going into different types of diet, different types of ways to maintain good health. A quick look at the various types of diet people look into to maintain good health are, you would have heard of the paleo diet, the keto diet, the GM diet, the intermittent fasting, Atkins diet, etc., etc. So we will spend a little time on this before we go on to the other topic. But even before going on to that, let's talk a little bit about 2 very important eating disorders called as anorexia nervosa and bulimia. Why am I bringing it here? Because many times, especially youth and young girls or women, are in this kind of a mind block, or what we say as a kind of obsession of reducing weight. And it can go on to a level where, in spite of the person being normal and having a right weight, or sometimes even undernutrition with a less BMI, body mass index, of less than 18, also the person may feel that I am overweight, I'm eating too much, and the person gets into the concept of self-starvation and purging, and many a times it's guilt trip, feeling very guilty about the foods she has eaten and checking his or her weight over and over again. So we have two types of eating disorders. One is anorexia nervosa, which is characterized by excessive weight loss. The person may be, as it is, adequately framed, or he or she already may be underweight, but there is a constant nagging in her mind, obsession in her mind that she is overweight. Her body mass index, her weight, height, anthropometry, everything says she is normal or even underweight, but the obsession continues when it reaches a level where the person kind of starves or tries to reduce the intake, or she's always feeling guilty about the consumption of food, very anxious of being fat, checks her weight over and over again, spends a lot of time in front of the mirror, and she looks so emaciated and she still thinks or talks that she is overweight. This could be a disorder called as anorexia nervosa. Excessive or rigid exercising, self-starvation, and denial of hunger. No, I haven't. She wouldn't have had her dinner or breakfast, but she would like to skip her meal further. She feels that she's overweight. So this is one of the eating disorders. There is another quite a serious one called as bulimia nervosa. This is again a little different from the first one, anorexia nervosa. Bulimia nervosa is a case of binge eating. The person keeps eating, binges on food, keeps eating, variety of food, sometimes overeating also. But after consuming the food, the person feels guilty about having eaten food. There is temptation, there is no resistance. She consumes food, but after that, there's a lot of guilt because she's consumed food. And she's again obsessed about losing weight. And she reaches a stage where she purges or induces vomiting. It could be by putting a finger into her throat, deliberate purging, or using laxatives, using purgatives, laxatives to pass excessive motion and then lose that overconsumption or the weight. So it is vomiting, using laxatives, or using any other methods to get out of or to eliminate food, which is called as purging. So this kind of binging, uncontrolled eating, binging, and then purging is called as bulimia nervosa. Both, whether it is anorexia nervosa or bulimia nervosa, are extreme fad or obsession to remain thin, to remain attractive, to be beautiful. Why did I quote these two is many a times in the context of looking beautiful, having a zero figure or a 18 BMI, etc., girls especially get into this trap of eating disorders. Please see to it that you consume a balanced diet. That's exactly why I showed you, I repeated about the 4 pillars and about the food pyramid. All of us, irrespective of our age, need to be getting all the 4 food groups in that very important proportion. Otherwise, there can be other kinds of ill effects of dieting. So there was a question about hair fall. Not just about hair fall, I would like to answer this particular question of hair fall and other questions, keeping the extreme diet pattern in mind. So those people who are on extreme diet, trying to lose weight, skipping an entire food group, because there are groups, there are diets which says, consume only fruits, stay away from carbohydrates completely in the form of cooked foods or cereals. So what happens is the person is losing on entire food groups like the cereal group, the protein group, and the fats group, if the person is entirely on the fruitarian diet or the fruits and fruit juices diet. So what happens? The fruit-based diet no doubt gives the calories that is required to function. No doubt it gives the different types of minerals and vitamins. But what about the energy? What about the fuel that's required for the body, which is derived from carbohydrates or the cereals? About 60 to 65% should come from the first group. So what happens when we eliminate a complete food group like a cereal group in the context of, I'm saying, the fruit diet? I've just taken that as an example. So our body, for its requirements of daily energy, it starts burning the stored energy, which is stored in the liver. Once that is lost, the stored energy that is present in the muscles. So muscle loss is there. Therefore, although the person starts losing weight, you also see the person looking emaciated, weak, fatigued. And that is not a healthy way of losing weight. That's exactly why we need to be taking all food groups for a sustained weight reduction program. Any of these food programs or diets can be for a short time, but whenever you want to have it as a longer duration, for a longer duration, it's very, very important that we stick on to the food pattern which can be sustainable in terms of all the four food groups, so that we don't lose out on different nutrients. So we move on. Talking about paleo diet. So paleo diet is one that is really catching up. You see many people referring to the paleo diet. So what is this paleo diet? Paleo refers to cavemen, prehistoric period. That's the meaning of paleo, prehistoric, cavemen's period. So how did the cavemen live during those times? There wasn't much of refined carbohydrates, not much of no cooked foods there, but they lived a lot on lean meat, roots and tubers, fruits and vegetables, whatever that was available. They would pick up from the trees, hunt, or pluck from the ground and eat. That's how the paleo men lived. There was hardly any cooking process or any other kind of refinements. They were more natural, and that's the same principle in the paleo diet. As the caveman diet, this includes lean meats. They used to hunt and eat lean meats, fish, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, more in a natural form. It avoids the different types of processed grains, refined sugar, dairy products, and all general kinds of processing. Is that good? To a certain extent, to lose weight, and in some of the health conditions, paleo diet is advisable. It is good. It's one of the popular ones. But what I would like to say is, although it helps in reduction of weight, again, what we need to understand is any of these diets are not for a long term or for lifetime. These should be for a target period of time to lose a particular number of calories or kilos in a particular time duration. So that is very, very important. Otherwise, what happens when we eliminate a complete food group, the different nutrients that we obtain from that food group can be lost. That's exactly why I was talking about one of the questions, as I told you. Sorry, I missed talking about that, the hair fall. Hair fall is one of the common complaints that a girl especially complains, or a woman complains. The reason for hair fall may be many. One of the reasons may be strict dieting. When you diet strictly and you completely miss out on the new trace elements, when you completely miss out on the many different minerals and vitamins, that can also result in hair fall. Why am I saying that? Because each and every part of the body, it is so complexly designed, intricately designed, that there are different chemical reactions and the different processes that are going, and different nutrients are required for different purposes. For healthy hair development and hair growth, we need good quality proteins. Zinc is very much required. Overall health of the body is also very important. So when a person is on a very strict diet, eliminating calories and proteins. She might lose a lot of weight and she might look attractive and thin, but in the long run, that may take a backseat or it might affect her other functions, say, for example, the health of the hair itself. Therefore, we need to very, very importantly understand the reaction or the interrelationship between these foods. And talking a little more about hair fall, since the question is there, the reasons for or the causes for hair fall can be many, starting from endocrine disorders, hormonal issues. It could be about the tensions, the worries, the stress. It could be iron deficiency, anemia. It could be, as I was telling you, the zinc deficiency. So all these causes, and of course the physiological reasons like, during child delivery and pregnancy. So that could be another reason. So we need to understand the reason or the cause of hair fall. That's very important. If the hair fall is due to endocrine disturbances in the form of hypothyroidism or any other hormonal imbalance, that has to be addressed first. So no amount of spending money on extravagant or extraordinary hair oils or other concoctions might help unless the basic problem is addressed. So we need to understand the basic problem for the problem, now we're talking about hair fall, so address that. Identify, is it because of the hypothyroidism, the PCOD, or the iron deficiency anemia? And once the problem is identified, the remedial measure has to be taken. So if it is hypothyroidism, it is important that the hormonal levels are in check. So the thyroxine hormone has to be replaced by taking synthetic hormone. It could be L-troxin or the Thyronorm as per the doctor's prescription. So you need to consult your doctor and set that right. So that's if it is due to endocrine issues. If the hair fall is due to anemia, please check your hemoglobin levels, and then anemia or the iron deficiency has to be corrected. Take iron-rich sources, iron-rich foods in the form of, if you're a non-vegetarian, organ meat, liver, etc. If you're a vegetarian, take a lot of green leafy vegetables, dry fruits in the form of anjeer, raisins, dates, and seeds and nuts like pumpkin seeds, watermelon seeds. So that's very, very important. So when you take your iron-rich foods, that will again help in proper hair growth and restore hair fall also. If your hair fall is due to worries, tensions, anxiety, you need to correct that also, because our body is connected to the different things, like as I was telling you in my previous class also, physiology and the emotionality, everything is linked. So it is very important that you take care of your emotional health also. Fourth, if you are deprived of sleep, not getting good quality sleep, that can again affect the hair condition also. So see to it that you get enough rest, you can take adequate nutrients, get yourself checked if you have any other physiological complaints. So this is why I just brought that point here, because your diets, especially the fat diets, can deplete you of some of the minor nutrients which are so important, and you might miss out on that, and hence these problems may arise. So moving ahead with the next type of diet, the keto diet. This is again becoming very, very popular, ketogenic diet. It involves consuming very less carbs, almost cutting down carbs and sugar, carbohydrates and sugar, and instead taking moderate amounts of protein and healthy fats. So the principle of keto diet is you are completely cutting down on carbohydrates. So for your day-to-day energy requirements, the body starts burning fats, or it reaches a stage called as ketosis, where the fats start getting burned down to meet the energy requirements of the body. So therefore, there is weight reduction. The person loses weight and the desired weight could be acquired. But again, the keto diet, the risks of keto diet are, when you do it for long times, it can lead to low blood sugar levels. It can also result in risk for the heart, kidney stones, and others. That's why the underlying principle should be any of these diets should not be for long durations. For a lifelong commitment, it should still be the four pillars. That is, balancing your food, your exercise, rest, and the mental attitude. That's still the best way. But we do hear and we do see people going or following all these diets. Many a times, these diets can show long-term effects, or you might see some other side effects like hair fall, or it could be anemia, it could be any other kind of digestive issues a little later, although you have reached or you have acquired your desired weight. So many a times you might even miss out the reasons for these effects or ill effects. Okay. Atkins diet is another kind of diet, a low carb diet that involves eating meats, fatty fish, and seafoods, low on carb and vegetables, but full fat diets. And it also suggests eating good and healthy fats such as coconut oil, etc. And the risk of this is it could lead to fatigue, nausea, weakness, and because it is low carb and low vegetables, it can result in constipation. And in the long run, it can result in nutritional deficiency, like I was already mentioning. So again, all this comes with a rider there. So GM diet is basically, it was developed by General Motors. It's a crash diet for a short time, but people get into the habit of continuing for a longer duration also. So what is GM diet? It includes low calorie foods such as fruits and vegetables on all the 7 days of the week. Definitely, when you are only eating fruits and vegetables on all the 7 days and completely cutting down the carbohydrates, the cereals, the proteins, the fat, no doubt the person is going to lose weight. But it is not just about the weight. Our body requires good quality proteins. We do require moderate amounts of fats. We do require quick energy sources. So this in the long run might have or might affect the different systems and your health also. Although this diet promises help weight loss, it can result in weakness, dehydration, hunger pangs, and nutritional deficiencies. So this was quick about the different diets. And what I would like to tell you is any of these diets, especially if you're on the side of overweight or obese and you want to cut down your weight or fit into that skinny jeans or those tees, etc., have a target, consult your nutritionist or a dietitian, let the expert work out a very, very specific, individualized diet plan for you. I'm sure a professional, the dietitian or the nutritionist, when she's talking to you and planning a diet for you, I'm sure the person will take care, a detailed history of you, your lifestyle, the food allergies, the kind of work you do, and keeping all this in mind, she would or he would be able to work out a suitable, tailor-made diet plan. And you will also hear for how long or for how many days this has to be followed, and things to be avoided and things to be done. So always take personal advice, because each one's body works and operates in a different way. The rate of metabolism, the kind, your body type, everything is very, very different and individual specific. Therefore, please consult your doctor, your dietitian before springing on to any particular type of diet. Don't get carried away by the myths, advertisements, the fads, and the hearsays. See to it that whether it works you well and whether the diet is sustainable. That's very, very important. There's no use following up or getting into a particular type of diet and unable to follow that in the long run due to your work schedule or your lifestyle. The pattern or the kind of diet you choose should be doable. You should be able to adapt. At the same time, you should be able to get the best out of it. Not just to shed out those desired calories or those desired kilos at that very specific part of the body. It is not just to have a slim waist or for a desired shape of the body. It's not just that. The food should take care of your entire self. The body, mind, the physical, the mental, the emotional. That's very, very important. And those foods which support all these systems is very, very important. If you look at the Ayurveda and the Sanskrit version, you would have seen about or heard about the Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, how our body has got different layers. So the food is something which will take care of all these koshas or layers. It is not just the outer layer. Outer layer is called as Annamaya Kosha, the physical, the Bhautika, or just the physical self. It's not just about that. It's not about how you look, what is your size. It's not about that. The food also goes to the micro part or the nano aspect of your body. And it affects the way of your thinking, your mood, your cognition, your everything. Therefore, that food which supports all these functions is the right food. So please be very wary and be mindful of what you eat, how much you eat, what type of diet you take. So the last one in this is intermittent fasting. This is again catching up. I have already mentioned about that, so I will not go deep into it. So intermittent fasting is more about when you eat rather than what you eat. So there is a window period of about 8 hours where you're allowed to eat anything. Fat, carbohydrates, there's no restriction of food, but you eat, but then remaining 16 hours you fast. So it depends on which 8 hours you choose. You have a late breakfast and then from 11 o'clock to the next 8 hours you keep eating, and then you skip out or you totally fast is a doable one because you've had a heavy breakfast until about evening you have had, and then you skip out your dinner, you sleep for the next 7-8 hours, and then you wake up in the morning and then you have a late breakfast. So your body is more rested during that time. So you may not feel that hunger pangs. So the window period of 8 hours, what you choose for intermittent fasting is important. But yes, it is catching up. And people who vouch for intermittent fasting say that it is a good way of getting the toxins out of the body. Yes, in a way it is good, but at the same time, as I told you, for sustained results, for in the long run, we would still suggest a balanced 3-course or a 3-meal pattern with in between smaller frequent meals with good quality of carbohydrates, fruits and vegetables, protein groups. Keep it healthy, keep it simple, keep it natural, keep it seasonal. That is something we need to be understanding and following. All these may come, may stay for a while, and may disappear too. But what should stay with you is the long-lasting principles of healthy eating and healthy dieting. I think with this, I stop the first topic of diet, what kind of food to be eaten, what is to be skipped. We move on to other topics that were given to me or the questions that were raised. As of now, if there is anything that you want to ask me, you can ask me in the chat box. Any particular question at this point of time. In the meantime, I'll just check the questions you have sent me earlier also. You could quickly text me. Any other that's in your mind?
Today, we are also inviting all of you to, you can sort of open your mics and address ma'am directly with your questions.
Yes,
if you have any.
Okay, so, okay. There is in the list, I'm looking at the list, good question related to cancer. So, talking about cancer, yes, talking about cancer, I would like to say that there are different types of cancer. First and foremost, what is cancer? Cancer is the uncontrolled growth of cells which are disease prone or malignant. Right now, in our own body, we have billions of cells, and as we all know, different cells make tissues, different tissues make an organ, different organs together make an organ system, different organ system make a human body. So we need to understand that the basic or the major component or the minutest part of the human body is the cell. So from cell starts the cell tissues and the organs and the organ system I was just explaining. So what happens? These cells have a definite timeline, and at this very particular moment, there are millions of cells that are being lost, millions of cells that are being formed. So we see a lot of growth and depletion of cells in the human body at any given time. But cancer is that where there is uncontrolled growth of malignant cells, disease prone cells. We have cells multiplying at enormous rate at any given moment. But cancer is that where the disease prone cells, the malignant cells, the cancerous cells rapidly grow and multiply. So this malignant growth and uncontrolled multiplication of disease prone or malignant cell is called as cancer. And there are different types of cancer. When this uncontrolled growth of sick cells, malignant cells happen in the breast, it's called as breast cancer. When this uncontrolled growth happens in the ovaries, it's called as ovarian cancer, likewise. So one of the principles, of course, oncologists are working and day and night, and it's one of the major diseases which is yet not conquered fully. But chemotherapy, radiation, various other medications are available, line of treatments are available. We are not going to talk about that. Or rather not an expert in that too. But what is it I would like to tell you all here is the principle here is uncontrolled multiplication of malignant cells. So one of the principles of controlling cancerous growth is controlling the multiplication of these cells. What is it that the cells require to grow and multiply is glucose or nutrient. So if we cut down the nutrient or the glucose supply to this malignant cells, to a large extent, the uncontrolled multiplication can be halted. So this is one of the basic principles. So if we have to talk about the food and the cancer, how we can help out is, research has shown that the cancerous cells thrive on sugar or glucose to multiply because they need nutrients. So if you can restrict or completely cut off the sugars to these malignant cells, the uncontrolled growth can be halted. But as you know, sugar or glucose or nutrient is required for the entire body, not just for the malignant cells. Therefore, it becomes a little challenge. How do I restrict the nutrients for this particular group of cells alone? So one of the line of treatment or diet modification could be cutting down on extra sugars, processed food, carbohydrates, sugary drinks, sugar products, instead making the diet more alkaline. When the diet is more alkaline, research says that the cancer cells find it more harder to grow and multiply. So how do we create an alkaline environment where the pH levels are a little more than 7? So the alkaline environment, that's very important. The pH scale ranges from 0 to 14. Less than 7 is acidic, 7 and above is alkaline. So maintaining an alkaline pH of the blood and body is important so that the cancer cells don't multiply and grow uncontrollably. So in that context, eating a lot of fruits and vegetables, not more than fruits, the vegetables, consuming vegetable juices, eating a lot of different types of raw vegetables, consuming raw vegetable juice is one of the ways of increasing the alkalinity of the body. Thereby, you are kind of going against or restricting the multiplication of the cancerous cells. So this is one of the ways. So it's a good practice to drink raw vegetable juice or fresh vegetables. Let us not wait for the indication or the health hazards to hit us. Instead, if we can get into the habit of consuming a lot of fresh vegetables, drinking vegetable juices, it could be a good practice. So in that context, I would like to say that ABC juice. ABC stands for A for apple or amla, B for beetroot, C for carrot. ABC juice. You could start your morning with a glass of ABC juice. How do you make it? If you're using apple, about for a single person, about half an apple, half a carrot, and if it's a beetroot, small size, about half beetroot. Mix it, puree it well with half a glass of water. You could strain it completely, or if you're fine with a little fiber in it, you could consume it as it is. So if you're straining it, you could do that. For flavor, you could add a dash of pepper, a little salt, or you could also mix it with a little ginger or mint or pudina to get that nice flavor and fragrance. So you get a nice colored juice, ABC, A for apple, beetroot, carrot, or you could also use amla. It could be apple and amla, apple or amla, either way, but I'm just using the thing ABC. So this is one way, one of the very, very healthy juices. If you can start your day, it builds very good immunity. There's a question on immunity building foods. So for that question also I would like to answer. So one of the answer for that is drinking good healthy vegetable juice is a good way of building immunity to increase the alkalinity in the body. For different types of cancers, today doctors are prescribing, recommending ABC juice and other juices, which I'm going to talk to you about. So you could make this your daily pattern. You don't have to wait for a ringing bell or a caution signal to take this. It could be your routine. You could start your day with that. You could also add different types of vegetables as an alternate. You could use tomatoes, you could grind cucumbers. So you could increase the quantity of mint, depending on your taste and variety and what's available. Use different types of vegetable juice. Extremely important. It increases the alkalinity of the body. Thereby, your immunity level also improves, and very good for general health also. So talking about other juices, any other vegetables and fruit juices freshly prepared at home with less or no sugar is recommended. And for additional, if you want little taste and sweetness, more than sugar is a kandasari, the granulated thing, brown sugar, or the jaggery or little honey could also be used. So that is about, that is about one of the questions I was asking about, answering. Yes. Yeah, there's a question on how to increase weight. Let's talk about that and talking a little more about cancer and diet. One of the other type of cancer that's very, very common that we are hearing about is the colon cancer. The colon cancer is the cancer of the large intestine, or the end part of the large intestine is called as a colon. So one of the cancers that we keep hearing is this: repeated constipation, piles, fistula, uncontrolled constipation for a long run could be one of the risk factors. I'm not saying that is the risk factor, but could be one of the risk factors for colon cancer, especially if it's in the family, if it's heredity. if you've had instances of cancer or colon cancer in the family, people need to be really wary of this and see to it that they consume a lot of fiber-rich foods. So constipation, lack of fiber in the diet could be one of the reasons. So people who are susceptible to this problem or who have constipation, uncontrolled constipation or piles, etc., let them consume more amount of natural fibers, both soluble and insoluble fibers coming from vegetables, fruits, whole cereals. That is very, very important. So in the long run, it can help the health of the colon, health of the entire digestive tract, and thereby could help or in the case of cancer. So this is something very important. And talking a little more about cancer, the bowel movements, very importantly, you need to have a healthy, proper evacuation of bowels. See to it that the consistency of the stools, it should be semi-soft or just slightly solid. Lack of proper bowel movements or severe constipation or very hard stools or blood-stained stools, and repeatedly if you're seeing these problems, never neglect these. And the bowels, the quantity, the number of times you evacuate your bowels, all these is an indication of your general health and your digestive health. So don't hesitate, don't feel embarrassed to ask questions or to find out about that. Basically, I would like to tell you the 3 things, or rather I should say 4 things, which actually are the decisive factors of good health. Number 1, you should be feeling hungry, eating well without any type of external help in the form of your hunger enhancers, etc. Never should we be dependent on sleeping tablets, or any kind of help to fall asleep. You should be eating or feeling hungry on your own. You should be able to digest the food that is taken. You should be able to pass or evacuate the food that is taken in the form of your regular bowel movements or the urine passage. So these 4 things, if you are eating well, sleeping well, and your bowel and urination these 4 things are taken care of without the dependency on an external agency in the form of a laxative or a sleeping tablet or any other form of artificial mechanism. If these 4 preliminary things in your system, in your body is operating right, take it from me, you are on the right path towards good health. The moment we start depending on external factors for these basic 4 things, that is a warning bell that something is amiss. So please take care of that. Okay. There is a question. Yes, ma'am, you have asked me to switch off my camera. Is there a little problem with that thing? If my camera is on, the network or the bandwidth. Now I have switched it off.
No, ma'am, it was not for you. It was for the participants.
Oh, is it? Okay,
Yes,
okay.
ma'am. Carry on. Okay,
I
ma'am.
thought it was for me. Okay. Okay, there's a question on in hypothyroidism. Kindly suggest a diet to reduce weight. Okay, first and foremost, this question has come from Garima. Okay, Madam Garima, let us understand what is thyroidism or hypothyroidism. So, thyroid is a small butterfly-shaped gland just near your throat, just behind your throat, your voice box. So, this thyroid hormone, which is butterfly-shaped, a small little gland here, is a very, very important gland. In fact, it produces a hormone called as thyroxine, which is so very important for the entire system. It is like, it acts as a loop. I'll just give you this example of the doors and windows in your house. You have those hinges, and whenever the door is making noise, we lubricate it with oil. Once that hinge is taken care of, the entire system starts working well. Similarly, the thyroxine hormone works as a lubricant. It works in smoothening the mechanism of the entire system. It is required for metabolism. It is required for your general functioning of heart, kidneys, muscles, neurological functioning, etc., etc., etc. It is for the smooth function, as I told you how the oil works for the smooth functioning. For the smooth functioning of the entire system, thyroxine is required. So when this gland isn't working, there are two types. One is hypothyroidism and the other one is hyperthyroidism. Hypo refers to underfunctioning of the thyroid gland. Hyper refers to overfunctioning of the thyroid gland. Generally, hypothyroidism is more common. So what happens in hypothyroidism? Hypothyroidism, in this condition, there is insufficient production of the hormone. There is insufficient thyroxine hormone, TSH, T3, T4. So there is insufficient production. Therefore, it affects the entire system. It can affect your body in the form of your metabolism is hindered. So we eat food, but the food isn't metabolized. It doesn't break down into energy. Rather, it is getting converted as just fat. Or it could be your voice becomes hoarse. You start losing hair. The skin becomes lusterless and thickened. So the entire system shows symptoms. Therefore, it is not just about losing weight in hypothyroidism. It's not mainly about diet, but we need to improve or increase the metabolism. Why is the weight accumulating? That's because the body has become slow. The metabolism has reduced. Why has metabolism slowed down? That's because we don't have the thyroxine hormone to kickstart the metabolism. So the key factor here is to put back the thyroxine hormone and not just to cut down the food to shed off that extra calories. So if you find yourself gaining weight due to hypothyroidism, first and foremost, correct the thyroxine levels. The TSH, the thyroid stimulating hormone, the T3, T4 are the two hormones which are very important, which indicates the thyroxine levels. So there is a minimum level that has to be maintained for different age groups. So see to it that you get your TSH, T3, T4 test done. It's a simple blood test. And if there is a visible sign of hypothyroidism and what level of thyroxine deficiency, your doctors, your endocrinologists will prescribe the synthetic thyroid hormone or thyroxine replacement. So it could be 25 micrograms, 50 micrograms, depending on the deficiency level. Once the thyroxine hormone is put back synthetically, then by itself the metabolic activities pick up. Thereby the fat is burned down, your calories is burned down, and then you start losing weight. So within, say, about 3 weeks to a month of replacement of thyroxine hormone, you would start noticing changes with respect to weight. So it is not just about eating less or dieting. If you're if you're having a problem of hypothyroidism, first and foremost, get the thyroid levels corrected. That's very important. And in majority of the cases, thyroxine hormone or replacement has to be taken for lifetime. It is not a disease, it's a disorder. The difference between disease and disorder is something that can be cured. It is periodical, it is for a time frame, whereas a disorder is something which has to be managed. So diabetes is a disorder. Hypothyroidism is a disorder. Can't be cured, but it has to be maintained with lifestyle modifications and proper medications. So if you have hypothyroidism, don't have to fret or don't have to get overly anxious. If you can consult a doctor, take the right quantity of thyroxine hormones and maintain good lifestyle, that it in itself is good. But as I told you, because this of thyroid or hypothyroidism, since you're putting on weight, we need to be careful or mindful of this particular fact that hypothyroidism can induce weight gain. Therefore, instead of overly becoming anxious about having the disorder of thyroxine or hypothyroidism, we need to look at it in a proactive way and reframe our mind so that we start leading an active life, energetic life, and be careful about overconsumption of calories or fat foods. So this is something what we need to very well understand. Many a times we look at ourselves as being victimized. Oh, now I have become diabetic. I'm not able to eat such and such a food, or I have become, I have hypothyroidism. I'm going to lose a lot of my hair. I'm going to be constipated, or I'm going to put on weight. And we become so negative about the very thought. But instead, if you look at this in a different way, a shift in the paradigm, in a proactive way, yes, now that I have got this whatever is a problem, can I make this an opportunity to get into a healthy or a better lifestyle? Now that I may put on weight, I may have to improve or determined to get up tomorrow and go for my walk. I need to be determined to eat at the right time. I should be determined to eat the right kind of food. So let us start looking at these disorders and diseases as a way of correcting our behavior rather being victimized in the hands of these problems. Otherwise, the remaining part of our life, the remaining decades of our life, as long as we are born, as long as we are alive, we may start blaming the situation, blaming the disease, blaming the disorders for our mishaps. So let's not get into that mood. I think I had already told you in one of the earlier sessions, we always have or look at the circle of concern. The circle of concern is hypothyroid or hypertension or diabetes or whatever, and we keep micromanaging, looking at the whole lot of problems and challenges because I've got this problem. Instead, out of this outer inner circle or the circle of concern, there is a bigger circle of control or circle of opportunities. There are so many things that can be done in spite of the problems we have. We need to be concentrating on the circle of control where we have a hold on rather than looking at the circle of concern. So if hypothyroidism is my concern, my control is I can change my lifestyle, I can start walking, I can be eating mindfully, I can take a second opinion of a doctor, I can control my thyroxine levels. And people tell you that this can also result in mood swings. Artificial thyroxine quota can result in mood swings. So therefore, can I be aware of this and be a little more mindful, practice breathing exercise, breathing or meditation? So this is the kind of proactive approach we need to be following rather being reactive. So I hope I've answered that question. Let me take a look into another one. How almond should be eaten to improve its nutritive value? A very good question. Rishba Agarwal asked this question. Almonds are a very good source of omega-3 fatty acids. Very good for children, very good for different age groups. It has healthy fats, which can increase the high density lipoprotein or good cholesterol. What is the best way of consuming almonds? The best way to consume almonds, there's a little answer in the question too. Soaking the almonds overnight in water and then eating the next day with or without skin is one of the best methods because the bioavailability of the nutrients is best that way. So soaked almonds is very good. Make it a habit before you go to sleep, soak about 4 to 5 almonds. I'm talking about per head. And then eat it on an empty stomach, the almonds. It can help you restore hair fall for the good condition of your skin. Good memory, of course, memory, there is no magical pill which can drastically improve the memory, but it can help the cognitive functions, especially for children. It's a very good way and it gives you healthy cholesterol and it also helps in burning or getting rid of bad cholesterol in the body. So that's a very good way of eating. And a fistful of dried nuts is a good way to have good calories, micronutrients, etc. I've already told you in my previous session also, but once again I reiterate, almonds could be pistas, dates, figs, raisins. Together, slice them, put it in an airtight container, just munch on it between meals. It takes care of your micronutrients, the zinc, selenium, magnesium, copper, iron, plus it gives you good quantity of carbohydrates, and it's a healthy snack, so that can be taken. And talking about almonds, only if you're obese or if you have high cholesterol, cut down or consult your doctor. That's very, very important. Yeah, is there any harm in consuming excess almonds? Any food in excess, any carbohydrate source, any protein source, any fat source, which is taken in excess, gets stored in the body. It is just like you have money, you're spending it, you have more, you put it in your savings bank. You don't use it, you have further excess, you put it in a FD. So any food that is not being used gets converted to fat. It is like storing it in the fixed deposit for long-term usage. The body keeps it for long-term usage. So whether it is almonds, whether it is any sugar, whether it is any fat, excess, it should work on the principle of demand and supply. You eat and you're able to burn that many calories in the form of activity and then work, etc. When we don't do that, when we are taking in more number of calories through whatever food, now the question is about almonds, whatever food it may be, the excess calories get converted as fats for the usage during starvation or during needy times. But we never let our body to starve. I'm talking about the affluent people. We never allow our body to starve. So there is an overconsumption of food. You eat a burger, it takes care of your energy for the complete day, your calories for the entire day, in fact, more than that. One double loaded cheeseburger will take care of your calories for 2 days. So when we are in the habit of eating energy rich foods or any foods in excess, it gets converted as fats. So what is a long-term effect? Overweight, high cholesterol, and when we are obese and having high cholesterol, the other kinds of disorders and diseases like cardiovascular disease, or it could be high cholesterol or hypertension, all these, the negatives can become the risk factors for other types of diseases. So talking about this question, I would like to delve a little more into this, what happens to excess fat in our body. So whenever there is excess fat, as I told you, it gets converted to fat and it gets stored in the muscles, in the liver as glycogen. And there is also buildup of cholesterol in the blood. And you see in the heart vessels, plaques, which are fatty deposition, is formed in the blood vessels. So just imagine we have blood vessels carrying blood to the entire body from head to toe, and especially to the arteries, the vessels supplying blood to the heart. When we have extra or excess cholesterol in the form of plaques or fat deposition, the lumen of the artery or just imagine a water pipe or a tube. If the tube gets clogged on either side, there is a deposition on the inner aspect of the water pipe. What happens? The place or the space for the water to move through the pipe gets reduced because of the deposition of dirt in the inner surface of the water tube. And then what happens? The water tube, there is a tremendous increase in pressure, and you also see the tube or the water pipe breaking, especially at the point where there is excess pressure. Now let's put back the same comparison to our blood vessels. So we have our own blood vessels doing wonderfully well, but we have been abusing with excess consumption of fat, high buildup of cholesterol, and fat deposition in the form of plaques. So the inner arteries are coated with fat deposition. So what happens? The space in the blood vessels for the blood to move around gets lessened. The space is less, so the blood has to still move through to the different parts of the body. So the heart has to pump or work more, applying more pressure to send the same amount of blood to the different parts of the body. Why? Because the sides are blocked, the space is thin or it's narrowed down. So in order to circulate the blood to the end parts of your body or to the different parts of the body, The heart has to pump harder, work harder, relax less. So what happens? Over a period of time, for a longer period of time, as long as the heart is beating harder, working harder to pump the same amount of blood to the body because of the narrow or thinning down of the vessels, the heart muscles become weak, the blood pressure increases. When the blood pressure increases and the heart muscles become weak, we become more prone to cardiovascular diseases and thereby the heart problems and also stroke. What is stroke? What is heart attack? Let me just tell you a little bit. So heart attack is, of course, there are different types. When the fat deposits get dislodged, I was telling you the plaques are formed within the blood vessels. When the fat plaques or the deposition dislodges or it tears apart, you see these blood in the blood, the fat deposits circulating in the blood along with the blood. Nothing happens as long as the fat plaques are smaller in size. But when they are bigger in size and it blocks the minute arteries, especially the vessels carrying blood to the heart, arteries are blocked due to the fat plaques, then we call it as atherosclerosis or heart attack because blood isn't reaching the heart because there is a blockage due to the fat particles or the plaques. So, cessation or stoppage of blood and oxygen to the heart muscles due to this blockage results in heart attack. Of course, mild or bigger, whatever. Similar kind of blockage affecting the blood vessels carrying blood to the brain, that results in stroke or paralysis. So shortage of blood supply to the heart results in heart attack. Shortage of blood supply or cessation of stoppage of blood supply to the brain results in stroke. And the reasons for stroke could again be high blood pressure, uncontrolled or heart problems. So again, we come back to the obesity, taking care of sugar intake, your exercise, and controlling the blood pressure. This is very, very, very important. That's exactly why all these are called as lifestyle disorders. What is lifestyle? The way you eat, how much you eat, the activities we do, the physical activities we indulge in, all this forms our lifestyle. The sleep pattern, the habits, the abuses, all these put together becomes your lifestyle. When this is incorrect, it results in the different lifestyle disorders or chronic lifestyle disorders. Therefore, again, we come back to the 4 pillars. So if you can keep that right, then more or less your lifestyle disorders can be at check. Talking a little about stroke, as I told you. So the risk factors for stroke are uncontrolled blood pressure, obesity, heart issues. So this could be the risk factor for stroke or paralysis. And I told you what stroke is. Stoppage of oxygen or blood supply to any part of the brain, even for a short term time, a few seconds or minutes is a stroke. What is the spelling of stroke? S-T-R-O-K-E. Please remember this bit of information, what I'm going to tell you right now. Stroke, it can happen to a person, especially with these risk factors. And one thing that we need to be mindful of is, I'll use this particular incident or an anecdote and try to tell you this. There was a particular training program which was happening, which was organized by a company. There were more than 50 people who were undergoing this training session. It was a 10-day training program. The training went on well. The people made good friends at the end of the 10-day tenure. On the last day, they had the farewell program. Say around 7:30 was the dinner and the valedictory and the farewell happening. And this particular lady, hardly in her late 40s, who was one of the participants, was having a good fellowship, having food with her friends, whom she had met just about 10 days during the training program. And with a buffet plate, she was moving around and enjoying the company of people. All of a sudden, this lady tripped and fell, and there was food all over her body, herself. Nothing major happened. For a couple of minutes, she was dazed, and more than anything, she was embarrassed because she fell, amidst a group of people, and it was more of an embarrassment for her. Somebody quickly helped her. She cleaned herself. Someone offered her a new plate. And when people asked her what happened, she said, no, generally we give some kind of a lame excuse. No, no, I slipped over my thing, or I was wearing a new pair of sandals. The floor was very slippery. Some kind of a lame excuse because she was feeling so embarrassed because she fell down in front of people. Within few minutes, she was okay with that, because there was not any particular reason for her to fall down all of a sudden. People forgot about that, and people went back to their respective rooms to pack up and then board the trains and the bus to go to their hometowns. Just within 2.5 to 3 hours later, they got a phone call this saying that this lady is no more. When she was taken to the hospital, the doctor asked her, she has died out of a major stroke. Did she face a mild stroke a little while ago? People who had brought her, her own friends, the participants, said, so we do have no knowledge about her health history. We just met her 10 days back, so we don't know. And the doctor said, it's not that you should be knowing a person from a long time to understand this. If she had a mild stroke a couple of hours back, and if you had brought her then, probably she could have been saved. Stroke generally, the major stroke which results in death, generally gives a little hints in the form of mild stroke. And to identify that, you just have to have this particular knowledge, not that you should be knowing the antecedents or the history of that person. And the doctor gave these details. And it goes like this. The doctor said, just remember the first 3 letters of the word stroke, STR. Whenever, if for any reason, any person has a fall for no reason, he or she just falls down without any reason, see to it that the person is helped or given right kind of help. See to it that the person has not injured himself or herself in the course of the fall. Offer her a seat, a water, and see if everything is fine. And the moment the person is calm and she's able to manage herself, ask the person these 3 questions. You should have done this to your friend or your fellow trainee. What are these questions? Remember the word, letters STR. After this lady gained composure, you should have checked if she's able to smile well. Just ask her. You should have asked her to smile. When you smile, your lips, it should form a proper semicircle, a nice U. Not one arm or one side going down, either the right side or the left side. It should be a proper curved line. See if her smile is a proper U. And the next one, T, STR, I'm going in that order. T, ask that person to put the tongue out. Put the tongue out. The tongue should be parallel to the ground. If the tongue is tilted onto one side, the left or the right side, note. And T also for talk. Ask that person to just repeat a simple sentence. It's wonderful weather today. Or it's a great company we are having. Just tell a sentence, a phrase, and ask the person to repeat. If the person is able to talk or repeat the sentence without any kind of missing out and without any kind of, omissions, see to note. By any chance, if there is stuttering, stammering, if the person is not able to repeat a simple sentence, note that. And the next one, R. R, ask the person to raise both the arms. Let that person raise both the arms. When the arms are risen, it should be straight. If one arm is falling down, either the right or the left arm, and he or she is not able to balance that, note. How many notes or signals did I give you now? Me in the chat box, let me hear it from you or give it to me. How many points I told you? I've given you 4. S for smile, T for talk and tongue, and for R for raise your arms. Among these 4 signs and symptoms, even if one isn't functioning correctly, if the smile was not okay, or the arms were falling down, or she was not able to talk well, or the tongue was twisted, even if one is not okay, that is an indication of a mild stroke. If you had brought this person then, probably she would have been alive with you today. Now tell me, do you need to have a family history to know about this? No, it is just about a small medical knowledge, not even a medical knowledge, a general information and a knowledge. So, dear friends, please remember, many a times, small little information like this or information with respect to your diet, nutrition, etc. can really, really help people in distress. So I'm really glad that this program is arranged and you're able to gain basic tips about very important aspects. Okay, let me, please suggest what is a must that we should consume in a day and should not be missed for an overall minerals, vitamins, proteins are. Yes. So what is it that we should consume in a day? We should be consuming all the nutrients, the 5 nutrients: carbohydrates, proteins, minerals, vitamins, and fats. So these are the 5 nutrients. We need to be consuming all these nutrients on a daily basis. And there is no shortcut for that. It's not that today I'm going to get my nice carbohydrates and tomorrow I'm going to gorge on proteins. It doesn't work like that. It's more of a balance of everything. That is very, very important. So, yes, I'll just show you the screen and then talk about that. Yes. Yes, Padma madam, this was a question. Everything, any of these things, overconsumption of any of these can lead to negative effects in the body. The right combination or the balanced is what we have been talking, keeping the food pyramid in mind. So that is something we need to be. There is no such thing as you need to be consuming only this. The crux is about consuming all the nutrients in the balanced form. And over or under consumption can have ill effects on the system. So this is what I was talking to you, chronic diseases related to dietary habits. All these 5 diseases, chronic diseases, are related to dietary habits and lifestyle. Atherosclerosis leading to heart attack, cancers we have been talking, type 2 diabetes, coronary heart disease, and stroke. Type 2 diabetes is one where the body is not producing enough of insulin, or it becomes insulin resistant. Another reason for this is our sedentary life, overconsumption of processed foods, lack of exercise, and overconsumption of refined foods. So please see to it that these are in check. In fact, the top reasons for death and mortality already and in the coming years will be the chronic lifestyle disorders. These are called as a non-communicable diseases. Non-communicable. It's not like corona. It's not like cholera, where you catch it from the person or from the neighborhood. It's not that. It is not even passed down from parents to children. It's not even heredity. But it is completely our individual dietary habit, lifestyle, the habits, the worries, the hurries, the curries, what we indulge in is what results into the chronic lifestyle diseases. It's completely in our hands. Therefore, it's very important that we manage all these 4 aspects: health, nutrition, diet, the health, exercise, positive mental attitude, which I have been stressing on always. So Some of you were asking about how much to eat or what is an ideal breakfast or lunch, etc. This is just one sample I'm just showing you, not that this is the ideal. If you look at the left-hand side, you will see the different types of foods that are to be eaten, and you will see that all the 4 food groups are there. Bread or cereal comes from the cereal group, that is the first group in the food pyramid. Vegetable group, that is the second one. The fruit, milk and yogurt comes in the third group. And then the last one, the fat. So how much it should be? A sedentary woman requires about 1,600 kilocalories per day. A moderate woman, generally, we can be considered as moderately active people. It's not that we are at the desk all the time. We are moderately doing work at home, not heavy workers. You probably run to a bus, catch a bus, travel in the metros, work a little at home, work with your children, work in the office, climb stairs. So we are all moderate workers. We require about 2,000 kilocalories per day. And boys who are still in growing years and active men, heavy workers need about 2,800 kilocalories. And this 2,800 kilocalories should be distributed across 3 meals. That's very, very, very important. One third coming from your lunch and dinner, 1/4 from your breakfast, the calorie requirements. That is a pattern that is to be followed. Many a times people get into this wrong habit of eating a heavy lunch and then skipping a dinner, especially when your party time or the buffet or that good wedding lunch is fixed. Then the person starves from the previous night for that nice buffet, skipping the breakfast and then trying to have a nice heavy lunch and then go skip the dinner too. It might be okay a couple of times, but this should not be the pattern. Why? Because our body needs continuous, regular supply of nutrients, energy, calories. Fasting or feasting is not good for the body. Generally, we get into the habit of either fasting or feasting. So when you do this, either gorge on a lot of food, feasting, or fasting, crash diet. There are confused signals to the body. There are confused signals in the mind. The body starts thinking that, I don't know if I'm going to get the right kind of food when I need it, because this lady is going on a strict diet. She's fasting most of the time. I don't know when my next meal would be. So the body goes into that alarm mode and then starts holding on to the nutrients, or the metabolism comes down. Similarly, the reverse happens in feasting. Therefore, you should never send your body to that level of alarm, shock, or uncertainty. The body should have a more or less disciplined, predictable pattern. That's exactly why we stress on the scheduling. Such and such a time, your breakfast time, your lunch time, because there should be a predictable pattern so that the body or your mind can be prepared rather than be in a fright mode. I don't know when my next meal is, so I need to hold on. So that's not the right habit. So this is what, just to give, there was a question, how much to eat? So about examples here. This is more of a Western example. So bread is there. You can substitute that with chapatis or pasta with rice. You also see the vegetables, the fruit. About 4 to 5 servings of vegetables and fruit is very important, very good. The 6 essential nutrients are extremely important. There is no question of missing on any of the nutrients. There is no question of this being overly important or emphasized over other. All these are equally important, because the first 3 are called as the macronutrients. They give the fuel, immediate energy to the body. The next 3 are called as the regulatory nutrients or the protective nutrients. And at the end, all the 6 are important. What happens, suppose you are eating well but not drinking enough water? The body gets dehydrated. About 75% of the body comprises of water. Water is present everywhere except in nail, hair, and the teeth. Water is required for excretion, for digestion. The blood contains water, your tears, the saliva, your enzymes contain water. So when there is inadequate supply of water or intake of water, the body gets dehydrated. When the body is dehydrated, the body temperature is affected, your thinking gets clouded, the brain function gets affected. In fact, when you feel thirsty and when you start picking up your bottle of water and start sipping, when you get the signal of thirst, by then already the body is 10% dehydrated. So never wait for the signal of thirst to tell you that you need to drink water. Just pick up that water bottle and start drinking that water every now and then. Sipping it is a good practice rather than gulping it down, especially standing up and gulping it down forcibly or fast is not a good practice. Sit down, sip it slowly, or even if you're standing, sip it slowly. That is a good or the right way to drink water. If you have not had water from, say we started at 4:30, it's already 6, take a short water break. I purposely give you this water break so that you all understand the importance of water. Just sip water and come back. Okay, any other? Hope everyone is back. Let's see if there is any other question. Yeah, there are a lot of questions. I'm just looking at, I might have missed a few also. Okay, there is an interesting question. We have always been talking about reducing weight. There's a question about, can you please tell us how to increase weight? Advik Singh says, good question. Yes, not everybody has a problem of obesity. People also have the issue of undernutrition or underweight also. So the same thing, what I was telling you, the balanced diet, all the 4 food groups are very important. But here, there is a little reversal. Increase the quantity of all these foods. That is, your cereals, if you are in the habit of eating 2 parathas, that can go up by 1 or 2. The vegetables and fruits can be increased. The protein, we need to understand that the muscles or the bulk comes from the protein group. So those of you who want to put on weight, eat more of protein foods. If you are a vegetarian, eat different types of dals, lentils, pulses. I had given you an exercise beginning of the session to increase the purchase of different types of lentils. I hope you have done that. I had given you that as an assignment or a task in the next monthly grocery purchase. If you're consuming or bringing home 8 types of legumes or lentils, increase it to 10 and then subsequently to 12, and ideally take it to 15 to 16 or 17, I told you, if you remember. Now, those of you who want to increase weight, eat more quantities of pulses in the form of whole pulse or dals. Eat a bowl of katori of dal. If you're having dal and chawal, even if you cut down or reduce the chawal, it's okay. Eat an extra serving of dal there. Rajma, beans. So protein-rich foods help in building muscles. So increase protein foods, increase good quality of carbohydrates. When we say you should be putting on weight, it doesn't mean that you start eating empty starch or just white starch or calories. Instead, eat whole wheat rotis, chapatis, millets, ragi, if you are a ragi eater. So eat more staples in the form of rice, rotis, not kulchas, ragi balls or whatever if you're eating, or even brown rice or white rice. So you can be a little generous in your cereals. And then moderate amounts of ghee or butter, paneer, tofu, cheese are good ways of increasing weight. Vegetables are more of fiber and nutrients in the form of water content, minerals, etc. They don't add fiber, weight, or they don't give you calories. Vegetables don't give you calories unless we are talking about the roots and tubers like potatoes and carrots. The others are more of water. Say, for example, cucumber is 97% water. So any amount of eating cucumber, you might feel full, but it doesn't make you put on weight. So if you want to put on weight, it's not just about vegetables and fruits. So you should be eating proteins, you should be eating carbohydrates, good quality carbohydrates, and also fruits. You can eat good amount of fruits and fats in the form of healthy fats in the form of ghee, desi ghee it could be, or as I was telling you, cream, butter, cheese, etc. Consider yourself lucky that you can eat good amount of these foods. So, and apart from eating for your muscle building and weight, exercise, that's also very important. Different types of aerobic and anaerobic exercises, weight bearing exercises are a good way to build muscles. Exercising not just helps you to lose weight, but it also helps you to build up muscles. It helps in flexibility, resilience, and bone health, endurance. All that helps or benefits you. So get into exercise also. That's also very, very important. Apart from that, dietary supplements are taken, protein shakes are taken. But if you can get all these through natural foods, that is the best way for your body. It's healthier for your body and easier on your pocket also. Because the nutrient supplements or protein drinks are expensive and we actually do not know the long-term ill effects of these foods. Therefore, always, as much as possible, resort to natural foods. So, increasing quantity and quality should be the key for this question. Okay. Yes, it's already 6:10. I think I will stop here because this is the last day. We would like to give more opportunity for people to share their views, and if the organizers have any other plans to wrap up the program, etc., I will hand it over back to the organizers.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Thank you. So,
yes.
before we begin our formal proceedings, is there any student who would like to perhaps comment or talk about their experience through this journey of the webinar series? I invite anybody from the participants, students, faculty, any guest who has joined us. Would you like to talk about our experiences?
People could unmute and talk,
Yeah, you're
please.
most welcome to do that. Okay, so
Hello, Nidhi. Hello,
yes,
Nidhi.
Yes.
Rishabha ma'am.
Yes,
Yes, Rishabha,
yes.
welcome.
I would like to, yeah, I would like to say something about this webinar. Uh, First of all, I would like to thank Shobha ma'am for taking us on this very, very informative and pleasurable journey connected with food and nutrition. Ma'am, in this course of journey, I think that all of us, though I, for myself, I'm saying that I'm very experienced since I'm more than 55 years. In spite of my experience, I have learned a lot from your talks. Though in between I missed one because of certain other reasons, very, very unavoidable reasons, I could not attend all your talks. But whenever I was here, I sat through the whole, session and learned lot many things from your talk, from your conversation which you had with all of us, and also the way you took up questions and answered them with aplomb. So really, I feel honored and privileged to be part of this webinar series. And you touched upon different aspects like food and how food impacts emotion, and how what is the connect between food and family. And today's session just really was very, very informative. Like you made this whole food and nutrition, we can say, a business, a very, very easy for all of us, very easy. Like you use certain words, certain abbreviations, I can say, like ABC juice, and then STR, and your use of fasting and feasting. So all these, yes, it was really very, very informative. And you also, there were some touches of humor here and there, which made it a very, very pleasurable experience. And you talked about 4 pillars of good health. So this is how I feel that after attending this series, I would definitely become a better cook, better organizer, and I would make my kitchen and my storage a better. I would keep it in a better shape. As you said that you should add more legumes, which I have already done. Already, I was using number of them, but I have added more to it. So thank you, ma'am, for this wonderful, wonderful series, which I hope that all of us, have benefited a lot. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. In fact, yours was a very familiar face all through, and I really would admire, because I would always see you through all my programs. As you rightly said, probably you missed one. You said, I remember you by your face and your name. And I'm so glad that you were able to bring in glimpses of different sessions right from the first one till today. And I'm so very happy about that. Good. This was the intention of the entire series when Deepak sir contacted me and invited me for this. So this is the reason why this webinar series was done, and you very beautifully put it. I'm so very happy for that. Thank you so much, ma'am. If you can bring in those changes, remember me, and continue these changes throughout your life, I think I have earned my meal tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you, Rishba ma'am. I think you have spoken for most of us here. And I now invite Dr. Deepak Sharma, who is also a familiar face here. In fact, he's one of the driving forces behind the IQAC, to speak a few words.
Yeah, in fact, he was instrumental in bringing me or in introducing me here.
Thank you, Nidhi. Thank you, Dr. Shobha. I am personally obliged to you for accepting my invitation and taking really so much pain and time to convey the message of health and nutrition to a large number of audiences across the country, and audiences from all groups: men, women, young, mature, and we are immensely benefited by such concepts that you used in your presentation. As Rishiba ma'am has just mentioned, to supplement her glossary, I would like to add like the concept of food pyramid, variety in food, circle of concern, circle of control, dose. These concepts are really, in short, you have conveyed a great message to all of us. And you have also touched upon a vast range of concerns and satisfactorily and meaningfully answered the questions of the participants. You really deserve really a big thank from all of us. One of the participants had just mentioned that you have brought zeal to our life back. such a wonderful comment, and it seems that something is coming from one's heart. You have really redefined, food and nutrition for us. And I know thanks is a very small word to adequately express our gratitude to you, Dr. Shobha. But since there is no bigger word either, all I can do is to say it from the depth of my heart. Thank you, Dr. Shobha. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. And I would like to add, because you said that one of them have mentioned about zeal. I rightly endorse that. I would like to say here that all of us have just one life. There's no point in adding years to our life. Rather, we should be adding life to our years. So living with zest, zeal, and celebrating every moment is very, very important. So please celebrate life. Be happy the way you are with what you have. Be proactive. Look at the positives in every situation and go ahead in life with that. If I can take a minute and tell you this, Deepak sir, I don't know what is the next agenda. Can I just take a minute?
Yes, please. Yes.
Yes, because we have all through been talking so much about physical self, the nutrition part, but the fourth pillar, the positive mental attitude, we never got an opportunity to talk too much into it. Of course, I told you about the dose and all that in the previous session, but that's my forte also, the emotional well-being, but I couldn't do justice. Of course, the topic itself was different. So I would just like to live with that message, because emotional health and emotional well-being is also very important. So I'll just use this particular incident. It seems there was a program which was being organized, and there was an audience, say, of about 200 to 100 plus people, and there was a senior faculty, a resource person who was invited to conduct this session. So it was on positive mental attitude, and this gentleman was conducting it beautifully well. So he was giving a beautiful discourse, and in the middle of the program, he just stopped for a while. He said, "My dear audience, I want to share a joke with you. Can I share a joke?" People said, "Yes, sir, please go ahead." And this gentleman, who was way into his 60 plus age, quite a senior person, he shared a beautiful joke, and everybody there, 200 plus people, had a good laugh. And this gentleman continued with his talk, a very sophisticated, magnanimous presentation. He started with that. Just within 2 minutes, he just stopped and he said, "My dear people, can I share a joke with you all?" Generally, we all like humor, story, etc. So people said, "Yes, sir, please go ahead." But unfortunately, this gentleman repeated the same joke which he had shared just a while ago. This time, out of the 200 people, 100 of them are laughed, and the other 100 never laughed. They didn't feel like. He just continued within a short time, just about 2-3 minutes. He stopped and said, "Can I share a joke with you?" Even before people could say anything, he repeated the same joke, and this time almost none of them laughed, excepting of one or two of you there. And by then people started murmuring, these oldies are called and they forget what they've just spoken just the previous minute, and we have to be at the mercy of these people. They don't even know what they've spoken in the previous minute. They forget so fast, amnesia probably, and all these little talks were going on. And this gentleman never paid attention to any of these. He just continued his talk, and within a minute he was back. He said, "My dear gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, can I share a joke with you?" And nobody was ready to give an answer, but our friend continued with the same joke, and this time none of them laughed. And he just paused and said, "Nobody is laughing." And one of them, who had little guts to stand up and question the senior resource person, he got up and said, "You are repeating the same joke and you're expecting us to laugh at it every time?" And this learned gentleman, this so-called, who was being called or blamed as the senior or the oldie, he just said one little sentence. He said, "My dear people, if you cannot laugh at the same joke over and over again, how can you cry over the same problem over and over again? You remember the mishap, the tragedy, the small little fights that happened between your mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law, between the husband and the wife, or your friends, and you go on and on going through the same emotional responses and the chemistry and the negative aspects. and then you live through that situation for years and you can't even smile or laugh at the positives in life. So there is a lot of message in this. I just narrated this because irrespective of what you eat, how much you eat, your mental makeup is also important. So I was just putting the puzzle or the picture back in shape. So please take care of your emotional health also. Sorry for digressing the topic and then talking about this. Back to
That's a lovely
you all.
analogy, though, ma'am. Very thoughtful story.
Thank you
It
so
leaves us a
much.
lot to think about. And now I would like to invite our principal, Dr. Gurmohinder Singh, who is the guiding force behind all the successful programs, especially through this pandemic that we have been able to undertake. Dr. Gurmohinder Singh.
Thank you, Nidhi ji. I think I'm driving right now, so थोड़ा सा बोल पाऊंगा. काफी टाइम से आई थिंक कितना टाइम हो गया, 1.5 महीना शायद.
Yes,
निधि?
more than that.
हाँ, तो
Yes,
पांच लेक्चर जो है हुए हैं, और मेरी बदकिस्मती ये है कि मैं एक भी अटेंड नहीं कर पाया. तो क्योंकि हेल्थ और न्यूट्रिशन जैसे टॉपिक्स जो हैं, ये इसको हम वैसे ही बहुत ज़्यादा नेगलेक्ट करते रहे और इसका खमियाजा भी भुगतते हैं बाद में. लेकिन आपकी बातें मैंने अभी थोड़ी सी सुनी है, 15-20 मिनट मैंने ऑन किया हुआ है, और मुझे लगा कि जो नेगलेक्टेड पार्ट है हमारा जीवन का, हेल्थ और न्यूट्रिशन, थोड़ा सा चेंज अब न्यू जनरेशन में आया है कि वो अपनी डाइट के प्रति और अपनी हेल्थ के प्रति वो थोड़ा सा एजुकेट हुए हैं. और मे बी वो ऑल बिकॉज ऑफ शोभा जी जैसे लोग जो गाइडिंग फोर्स बन के काम करते हैं, तो उनकी वजह से न्यू जनरेशन थोड़ी अपनी हेल्थ कॉन्शियस हुई है. तो मैं तो क्योंकि मैंने 5 ही लेक्चर अटेंड नहीं किए, मुझे सिर्फ टॉपिक्स का पता है कि ये टॉपिक्स हैं, क्योंकि ये डिस्कस हुए थे दीपक जी के साथ. और वो टॉपिक्स ही इतने कमाल के थे कि बस आप इमेजिन कर सकते हैं कि भी उन टॉपिक्स के बारे में जब हम बात करेंगे तो वो किस तरह की बात होगी. लेकिन जितना मैंने आपको सुना है अभी लास्ट 15 मिनट में, तो मुझे लगता है कि आपके सारे गाइडेंस से, सजेशन से, आपके लेक्चर से, और आपने जो गाइड किया होगा सब लोगों को जो बैठे देख रहे हैं, तो मुझे लगा है उन्होंने कुछ ना कुछ अचीव किया होगा. और ग्रास्पिंग पावर भी हमारे लोगों में बहुत ज़्यादा है. अभी सारी टीचर कम्युनिटी बैठी है, तो ग्रास्पिंग पावर भी है उनमें. तो डेफिनेटली वो आपकी गाइडेंस के थ्रू अपनी हेल्थ को ठीक कर पाएंगे. और मेंटल स्ट्रेस भी इससे रिलेटेड होती है. आपने जो जोक सुनाया उसके बारे में, जोक के बारे में बात की थी, वो बड़े अच्छा था कि जब हम बार बार हंस नहीं सकते एक जोक के ऊपर, तो हर बात पे रोना, एक ही बात पे रो कैसे सकते. तो दिस इज़ लाइफ, और ऐसे ही चलती है. और आप जैसे लोग अगर गाइड करते रहेंगे तो डेफिनेटली सोसाइटी में चेंजेस आएंगे, लोग अपनी हेल्थ के प्रति और कॉन्शियस होंगे. एंड आई रियली थैंकफुल शोभा जी, फ्रॉम बॉटम ऑफ माय हार्ट. और कोशिश करेंगे ऐसे वेबिनार सीरीज ऐसी और दोबारा से चलती रहें, ताकि आप हमें एनलाइटन करते रहें. Thank you so much, Shobha ji.
Thank you very much, sir. I thank the university, I thank the IQAC team, the coordinators, and each one of you. I know it's not easy to organize and coordinate a series which is spread over 2 months. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your words. And now on the principal, on behalf of IQAC and the entire college, would like to present the small token of our appreciation to Dr. Shobha. Had it been a physical seminar, we would have had a formal valedictory, but we will have to make do with this. Ma'am, please accept this small token of our gratitude for the guidance that you have provided for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I thank the IQAC and the college, and I thank Nidhi especially for taking us through and being here and moderating all these sessions.
Thank you, ma'am, but I'm not done yet. I still want to invite some of my colleagues. I now invite my senior colleague, Dr. Indra Kaul, because she also would like to speak
yes, please.
On this occasion. Ma'am, Indra ma'am.
Thank you, Nidhi ma'am. But after listening to Rishiba ma'am, Dr. Deepak, Dr. Gurmohinder, I think there is not much for me to say. They have preempted most of what I could have probably talked about. But then, as Nidhi said, we can never be tired of sharing our small tokens of gratitude towards Dr. Shobha. So please accept mine as one such small token, ma'am.
Thank
Dr.
you so
Shobha,
much.
it has been a very valuable series of lectures on food and nutrition, a learning experience in more senses than one. You taught us to develop and reinforce specific nutrition-related practices. You taught us to change our behaviors and habits that contribute to poor health. You provided us with the impetus to prod ourselves into developing desirable food and nutrition behavior in order to promote and protect our health. You also taught us to correct many of the misnomers with regard to many categories of food. We, for example, now know that proteins are important, but so are a certain measure of fats and carbs. We also learned what kind of nutrition to provide ourselves as women, to the senior citizens in the family, to the children in the family, to the obese and the frail in the family. Above all, we now know how to have our common sense and sanity in place when choosing to go on any kind of so-called diet regimen to shed those extra kilos on our bodies. Dr. Shobha, the most precious takeaway from the series, among many other, has been that diet has to be sustainable. That maybe to keep our zeal going, the catchphrase for the session today, that maybe it's possible that we eat our cake and lose weight too. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for such an overarching view of the subject that you have been talking about over this webinar series. It has indeed been a very enriching and educating experience. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you
on
so
behalf-
much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Indra ma'am. I now call upon my colleague, Ms. Harpreet Kaur Bahari, to also present her gratitude to your talks. Harpreet.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Nidhi, so much. A very good evening, Dr. Shobha. Uh, I think everyone has really, and Deepak correctly said, that a thank you is a very small word, for to kind of actually thank you for all the wonderful sessions that we've had on nutrition, food and nutrition since 2nd October. In fact, I would say that your Saturday, nutrition webinar series has in fact become an important part of my schedule. I would look forward to it every Saturday, and would not want to miss it, although I unfortunately had to miss one of it. that I'm really, I don't know how, but then I'm really going to, miss these Saturday sessions, because each of these sessions, whether it was on good nutrition or it was on food and emotions, and I think most importantly, food, periods, and you was one session which I really liked, because this is one topic which we are really, afraid of. Sometimes even small young girls are afraid of addressing, and we sometimes don't even know that, food and periods, for instance, or food and family are issues which are interrelated. We kind of think food as something which is disjointed, kind of a concept which is not related. But I think your sessions, brought all this to our table, I would say, and made us, think and rethink of all that we had been fed on, perhaps, since our childhood days. So you kind of reoriented us, brought us to a new understanding of food entirely. I would say it for myself, and I'm sure the others also would have felt in the same way. So food, for instance, for me was always something which helps you in craving your, you have hunger cravings, and then food is something which, satisfies that. But no, how it is related to, I think everything around us, connects to it. And especially during this pandemic, when one was feeling the negativity all around oneself, your sessions, and each of the session was conducted with such openness and liveliness. I really love your smile, to every question, to all the suggestions, and giving us a platform, I would say, to share our health concerns. Thank you so much, Dr. Shobha. And I don't know, I'm really going to miss your sessions, and but then I hope, that Dr. Deepak is going to give us more chances, where we're going to get, opportunity to hear from you, maybe sooner in the future. So thanks so much, ma'am. And thank you for enlightening us on these wonderful topics. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Harpreet. It means a lot, really.
Thank,
I'm really honored and privileged. Thank you so much.
Thank you
thank you,
so
ma'am.
much, Harpreet. I now finally, invite Dr. Neeta Dhingra, my senior colleague, to propose the vote of thanks for this program. Dr. Dhingra.
Yes, Nidhi, before Dr. Neeta speaks, I want to
Yes.
make two announcements, especially for those who have joined us first time today, that all the 5 recorded videos of Dr. Shobha's lecture are available on YouTube, on our official Khalsa College YouTube channel. So if somebody wants to be benefited by listening to those talks, they are available. Secondly, we are working out to launch another series on some significant topic with Dr. Shobha only. So it's not the end, rather it's a sabbatical, and it's a good, healthy beginning from today. So soon you will be listening to Dr. Shobha on some other significant topic. Dr. Neeta Dhingra now, please.
Good evening, everyone. It's an honor for me to propose a vote of thanks for this most wonderful nutrition webinar series, which has come to a conclusion with today's session. On behalf of the Internal Quality Assurance Cell of our college, first and foremost, I would like to express my deep gratitude to our honorable speaker, Dr. Shobha Ji, for sharing her knowledge with all of us, her time, and her efforts towards each of these sessions. Dear ma'am, the information and awareness received by all of us is bound to usher a noticeable change in our outlook towards food, health, and wellness. We have delved upon a series of topics, few of which include the correlation between emotional health and physical wellness, idea of a balanced meal, changing diet trends, hormonal changes, and the monthly cycle. And these are some of the health issues which confront people across all ages. Further, our lifestyles, our ever changing and ambitious pursuits, and radical changes in priorities have made life very difficult and stressful. Ma'am, the knowledge and advice given by you shall go a long way in bringing the much needed reforms, both in our outlook towards wellness as well as the food habits. I also must state that besides the highly relevant contents of each of the lecture, the way you interacted with the audience and kept them engaged was highly appreciated. In fact, whatever we learned from you was presented in such a lucid and impactful manner that most of the knowledge is going to stay with us for a long, long time. Through all the sessions, you responded to the deluge of queries, comments, and anxieties with utmost patience and humility. And perhaps that prompted all of us to ask more and more. Dr. Shobha, I would like to put on record my proficient sense of gratefulness for your words of wisdom loaded with good health. As our IQAC coordinator, Dr. Deepak, just put in, this is one such occasion when the expression thank you seems so inadequate. At this point, I cannot hold myself back when I make this statement that these unprecedented times of pandemic would not like to be recalled or visited by any one of us. But as it is said, that every dark cloud has a silver lining. And in our case, the silver lining is the establishment, rather the rediscovery and development of these online platforms, which have enabled us to connect and listen to the best brains across the nation, even globally. So, to that extent, these difficult times have come as a blessing in disguise, since we got an opportunity to hear the pioneers of the likes of Dr. Shobha. Once again, dear ma'am, I extend my generous thanks to you for this highly enlightening nutrition webinar series. And as Dr. Deepak just mentioned, we shall very soon conduct season 2 of this webinar series in the future with an earnest request to you for your time and virtual presence. Ma'am, all our students, faculty members, and the members of the non-teaching staff wholeheartedly joined me in extending our heartfelt thanks to you for your valuable inputs. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
I would also like to take this opportunity to express our gratefulness to our principal, Dr. Gurmohinder Singh, for his active support and encouragement in all our endeavors. The IQAC team of a college has put in considerable efforts in organizing this webinar series. I would like to extend a hearty thanks to all esteemed members of the IQAC. I must express my deep sense of appreciation and gratitude to the convener of IQAC, Dr. Deepak Sharma, under whose guidance and mentorship this webinar series could be conceived and very successfully organized. A sincere thanks to Dr. Deepak Sharma for his brilliant initiative and his consistent and committed efforts always. All members of the mentoring committee deserve a special thanks for their continuous assistance, support, and efforts in making this Mentoring the Mentor program successful and relevant. Now, it's been a privilege to host all the students, faculty members, and members of the non-teaching staff as a worthy audience. And I graciously thank each one of you for your very energetic participation, responses, and lively comments that made the sessions move on in full swing. Our students deserve a special applause for being very loyal audience and attending all the sessions. Last but in no way least, our salutations and thanks to our young faculty members, Sukhwinder and Nidhi, for their unwavering commitment and efforts toward each of these lectures. It's your virtual presence that completes the happening of these webinars. Thank you, Sukhinder. Thank you, Nidhi. Finally, I pay my gratitude and thanks to each one of you for making these webinar series very successful, fruitful, and beneficial to each one of us. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Neeta ma'am. Thank you so much. I'm really privileged. And as I was just going through the chats, I understand that there are more questions which are not answered due to paucity of time. Deepak sir, you're most welcome to share these questions with me. I'll be happy to answer them. I'm sorry I have not been able to answer these. Of course, you all understand we have to limit ourselves to the time given. That's very important. So please come back if you have any queries. A couple of them have asked for their numbers, sir. If it's required, you may share it kindly. Thank you. Over to you, sir, again.